Welcome back. The second video lesson of third chapter, current electricity. Yesterday we have discussed about resistance and Ohm's law. We have brought out a relation between resistance and its dependent factors like length, area of cross section of the conductor, and relaxation time. Generally, V equals to IR is known as the scalar form of Ohm's law. So this is V equals to IR is scalar form of Ohm's law. We also can derive the vector form in terms of the current density vector. That we have given one equation. Okay, let me write the subheading. Vector form of Ohm's law. Right? We begin with this equation. We have Indian Navy. Indian Navy. I stands for electric current. N is number density of free electrons. A is the area of cross section of the conductor. Vd is the drift velocity. And E is the charge on the electron. Right. Now what we do? We bring this A this side. So this I divided by A equals to N into Vd expression we have derived yesterday. E into E by M into tau. So this Vd value into charge on the electron as it is. This further will be expanded as N into E square by M into this is nothing but V by L into tau. Electric field is potential gradient, potential divided by the length of the conductor. On the left hand side, I by A, current per unit area of cross section, is known as current density J. Right? So where J is current density vector, that we will write at the end. Okay? Right. Now, in this N into E square by M into tau, these are the constants, into this is A has gone that side. Now we are left with only V by L. This V by L, just a minute. V by L not necessarily to be written for electric field. Let it be like this only. This will be E into tau. I am not changing E into voltage and length. I am keeping it as it is. So N E square by M into tau into finally left over is what? Electric field. So here J. J is a vector quantity. E is also a vector quantity. This is N E square by M into tau is nothing but what? Conductivity. Because yesterday we have given for a resistivity rho equals to M by N E square into tau. This is actually named as a constant resistivity. Reciprocal of resistivity is nothing but conductivity. So conductivity sigma equals to 1 by rho equals to N E square by tau whole divided by M is what? Conductivity. Right. So now in the place of N E square by M into tau, I can write what? Sigma. So J equals to sigma into E. So this is E is a vector quantity. Therefore J is also a vector quantity. Sigma is a scalar quantity. This is known as vector form of Ohm's law. Vector form of Ohm's law, where J is known as current density. Right? it is a vector quantity. It's a vector quantity. Its direction is same as that of electric field. Okay. SI unit is, J is nothing but I by A. I is measured in what? Ampere, meter power minus 2. Okay. So this is important for 2 marks questions sometimes. Derive Ohm's law in vector form means this. Start with this equation. I told you yesterday, this is one of the important equations in current electricity. Remember it blindly as Indian Navy. Okay. And drift velocity, you can write it as E into E by m into tau. So remaining things will be very easy. Right. So this is a 2 mark question. Fine. So J equals sigma E is the vector form. V equals IR is the scalar form of Ohm's law. Right. Now, in continuation of this Ohm's law, we have another quantity to be defined, that is nothing but mobility. This is denoted by the letter mu, which we use to denote the refractive index of a medium. Mobility of what? Mobility of free electrons in a conductor. It is defined as, mobility is defined as magnitude of drift velocity, per unit electric field, So therefore, mu equals to drift velocity Vd divided by E. This is a basic expression. Fine. And we may come to know that if you increase the electric field by increasing the battery potential, we may come to an impression that the mobility of free electrons will decrease. But if you substitute this value, Vd is nothing but E into E by m into tau. You see how the equation will come out for Vd. So I have by-hearted this. So you also have to do the same thing. Drift velocity is E into E divided by m into tau whole divided by E. So this E and E will be cancelled. You are left with mu equals to E by m into tau. Clear? So now the mobility of free electrons does not depend on the electric field. It does not depend on the potential. It does not depend on the length of the conductor. It does not depend on any such physical parameters. E is the electronic charge which is constant, 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. M is the mass of electron which is also a constant, 9.1 into 10 power minus 31 kg. Tau is the relaxation time. Yesterday we have defined relaxation time as the time taken by free electron to travel between 2 successive collisions with the atoms. So, if you increase the temperature of the conductor, when the current is flowing, the temperature automatically increases. With increase in the temperature, free electrons acquire more thermal energy. Therefore, they move very fast between one atom to other atom. So, as a result, what will happen? Relaxation time decreases. As relaxation time decreases, the mobility decreases. So, the question is, what is the effect of temperature on mobility of free electrons? Effect of temperature on mobility. So, if T temperature increases, tau decreases, therefore mu decreases. Conversely, if temperature decreases, then tau increases, mobility also will increase. Okay. So, effect of temperature on mobility is, temperature is increased, mobility is decreased. So, therefore, mobility varies inversely with temperature of the conductor. So this is the conclusion. The question will be asked like this for short answers. Define mobility of free electrons. Okay. What is the effect of temperature on the mobility, and what is the SI unit of mobility? SI unit you can write from this basic equation. SI unit is drift velocity is measured in meter per second, whole divided by electric field is measured in what? E equals V by L. Basic relation. This is measured in volt. This is measured in what? Meter. So volt divided by meter. So this will be meter by second into meter by volt. So therefore meter square per volt into second, that is meter square volt power minus 1 second power minus 1. This is one of the important questions for multiple choice. You have 10 multiple choice questions, 5 fill in the blanks and 5 one word answers. So this is the pattern of the question paper. Okay, so 20 marks are there. During the evaluation of this March 2020 class 12th board papers, physics papers, we actually thought that this will be an advantage for the children to score marks. But you know the fact, children are losing marks only in these 20. Most of them are scoring only 5, 6, 7, 8, that's all. Very few children are crossing 50% of this 20. And of course there are some children, those who are scoring 17, 18. But nearly we have corrected 2,400 answer books. Very few children, I can name 1 or 2 only. Okay, so they scored 20 out of 20. So you should be very careful with all these things. Okay, so it is not simply derivations or it is not simply numericals that will fetch you marks. Even these things also, when you are very particular about subjective matter, you can answer the questions correctly. Right. So this is other thing which you have defined now. That is nothing but what? Mobility. So far as we have derived the vector form of Ohm's law and the mobility of free electrons. Okay. Right. Then we stated Ohm's law like the current flowing in a conductor is directly proportional to potential difference. That is, I is proportional to V. Therefore, V is also proportional to I. Some constants will come. In that there is a constant resistance. Okay. So if you increase the voltage, then current will what? Increase. Remember, we have the voltage sources in most of the times, because of which we obtain the current. So therefore current varies directly with potential difference is a correct statement. Okay. Now as this is a linear equation, the graph between voltage and current, is supposed to be a straight line with a positive slope passing through origin. But this will not happen in all times. Okay. We generally say that all metals are very good conductors, so they obey Ohm's law. They obey Ohm's law only when the temperature of the conductor remains constant. But we said that when the current is flowing in a conductor, according to Joule's law of heating, heat will be produced as H equals to I square RT. So because of this heat factor, the temperature what increases, then Ohm's law will not be mobilized. So these things will be put up in a form that is called what? Limitations of Ohm's law. So today next topic is limitations of Ohm's law. Right, number 1. I is proportional to V only when temperature remains constant. Temperature is constant. For this, if you plot a graph, voltage and current, this dotted line indicates actually the theoretical Ohm's law. But in practice, Up to a certain extent, I and V are directly proportional. Slowly the graph deviates. So this is theoretical graph. This is the practical graph. Okay. So not necessarily that all times current should be proportional to the voltage. There are deviations when the temperature increases. Number 2. Now, if you reverse the sign of the battery which you have increased, which you have connected, suppose you have given 5 volt, you obtain certain current. Okay, you have seen one pattern. Plus voltage and this is minus voltage. So this is plus current and this is minus current. So there are certain devices which are called what, semiconducting diodes. If you increase the voltage up to certain time, the current will be 0. After that it will sharply increase. Suppose I obtained this graph for about say 10 volt. So 0 volt, there is a 5 volt and this is what, 10 volt. If I reverse the sign, I don't get exactly the similar graph. I don't get exactly the similar graph. The graph is going to be like this. So there is a lot of difference between this graph and this graph. There is a very small current even at the beginning also. It is not touching the axis. There is a small gap. So there is a small leakage current at the beginning, and that current after some time it will sharply increase. This is very large value, maybe some 30 to 40 volt. So therefore at 5 volt you are recording a sharp rise in the current. Here at minus 30 volt you are recording a sharp rise in the reverse current. That means if Ohm's law is valid good, then I and V are, if related in this way, then for all the signs, whether it is a positive sign or negative sign, I and V should be related in the same sense. So that will not happen. This is the other limitation. So what do you write about this other limitation is the magnitude of current. The magnitude of current does not remain same. Does not remain same when sign, that is positive or negative, sign of potential difference is reversed. Example, a p-n diode. You already might have studied about something in chemistry about semiconductors, p-type semiconductor, n-type semiconductor. When these two conductors are combined, you will get a new device that is called what, p-n diode. So p-n diode does not obey Ohm's law. As such, no semiconductor obeys Ohm's law. Okay. Still, the relation V equals IR is valid. That means V equals IR. The Ohm's law is not a law. It is actually a mathematical relation between voltage and current. Whether it is a linear relationship or non-linear relationship between voltage and current, the formula is valid good in all conditions, like as V equals to IR. Okay. So example is p-n diode. This example is metals, that is conductors. Okay. Right. Third one, this relation says that for every current there should be a single voltage, because it's a linear relation. For every current there should be a single voltage. But there are some devices like gallium arsenide, which are also known as thermistors. Their graph is something different. So this is voltage and this is current. The graph will go like this. Graph will go like this. Suppose if I take a current here, say 5 ampere or something else. So here this is what? Some voltage, maybe 2 volt. And here for the same current, you are getting another voltage, maybe 6 volt or 8 volt. So the value of V is not a single valued function for a given current I. It may vary. Example, gallium arsenide. What is gallium arsenide? It is a semiconducting compound. Gallium arsenide is a semiconducting compound which exhibits this type of behavior. Okay. So what do we write here? For a given value of current, voltage does not have a single value. So therefore, if you are asked for a 3 marks question, explain the limitations of Ohm's law, then these are the things you should explain. Clear? Right. So now we will, one is about metals, other is about semiconductors, the third one is semiconducting compounds. Conductors, semiconducting compounds. Fine. Next topic is resistivity of different materials. Okay. Carbon resistors we discuss first, then we will go to carbon resistors and color code. Generally, resistors are made with two types of materials. One is the alloys you can use, which are generally insensitive to temperature. That means even if the temperature varies by large extent, their resistivity almost maintained constant. That's why they are said as insensitive to temperature. So that is wire bound resistors like nichrome. You will be seeing in the lab there are some resistance boxes. Inside the box there are coils which are made up of nichrome, manganese, constantan. Nichrome is an alloy. Constantan is also an alloy. You have studied this in class 10th. Okay. And other type of resistors are nothing but what? Carbon resistors. Okay. So carbon resistors are generally cheaper as compared to the wire wound resistors, wire coiled resistors. That's why in many electronic applications we use carbon resistors. Carbon resistors are very small in size. That's why to calculate their resistance we use color code. Okay. How a resistor looks like is, it is simply a capsule like. I am making the diagram little bit big for easy understanding. It's like this, and here there is a wire, here also there is a metallic wire. These are for connections only. So on the body there is a ring like this, another ring like this, another ring like this, and at the end there will be fourth ring. So these three rings are very close to each other. The fourth ring will be far away. These three will give rise to resistance and this will give rise to tolerance. This is called tolerance band. Tolerance band. First two colors will give the significant figures of the resistance value. The third color will indicate the decimal multiplier, 10 power something. Okay. So how these colors, suppose this is blue. Primary colors I am writing. Blue. This is green. And this is red. So a carbon resistor is coded with blue, green, red as shown in the figure, with a tolerance band in a silver color, for example. So this tolerance band can have two colors only, either silver or gold, or there cannot be any color. Okay. Silver carries a weightage of plus or minus, gold carries plus or minus 5%, silver carries plus or minus 10%. Color, if there is no color, the tolerance will be plus or minus 20%. That I will write. So how to calculate the resistance of this one means we have a code that is known as what? Color code. So that color code, in order to remember the order of the weightages of colors, we have some statement like VB Roy goes Bombay via Gateway. Though this statement is nowhere related to our study, but this is one way to remember the sequence of the colors. This first B will be written like this. Next B is here, R is here, O is here, Y is here. This goes, only G you write because it is a word, not a letter. Bombay, it's also a word. Letter you take, Bombay. Via, V, Gateway, G, this is W. Okay, right. This B is nothing but black. This B is nothing but what? Brown. This is red color. This is orange color. This is yellow. This is green. This is blue. This is violet. This is grey. And this is white. Now, black stands for 0 weightage. Brown stands for 1, 2, this 3, this 4, this 5, this 6, this 7, this 8, and finally 9 is white. So black and white are the leading and trailing colors in the sequence. That way you remember. Black and white, black and white, black and white. Fine. So which B is black and which B is brown means first one is black automatically. So second one should be what? Followed by brown. And here is another B. Whether it is brown first or blue first. Brown is spelled as B-R-O-W-N. Blue is spelled as B-L-U-E. Okay. So in this, once you confirm this, after L it is R and this W and this U, you see. IJKLMNOPQRSTUVWX. Yeah. This O third letter, here the third letter is what? U. You have O. U. So U follows after O. And black and brown may, after black immediately it should come what? Brown. So there is some sequence. Blue is very rarely we use. Here as primary colors we have, that's why I have written here. Fine? Okay. Now, how to calculate the resistance of this one? Now blue you see. Where is blue? Blue is here. So its weightage is what? 6. So resistance R equals to 6. Next color is what? Green. Where is green? There is a green. Weightage is what? 5. So two significant figures. Fine? Then red is nothing but a decimal multiplier, means into 10 power. Right. What is this red? Red is nothing but what? 2. Fine. Now tolerance is how much? Silver. Yeah. Tolerance bands I will write. Tolerance. Gold plus or minus 5%. Silver plus or minus 10%. No color plus or minus 20%. Double 5 to the 10, 10 to the 20. Not 5, 10, 15. 5, 10, 20. What is this tolerance means? It is the variation of resistance or resistivity depending on the temperature. Suppose now it is silver. Silver carries how much? Plus or minus 10%. So here I will write plus or minus 10%. What is the unit? Ohm, because after all it is a resistance. So this will be 6500 plus or minus 10%. So ohm. That means R minimum is 6500 minus 10%, right? That is 6500 minus 10% of 6500. 10% of 6500. Okay, so this will be 6500 minus 650. This is the minimum value. What is maximum value? R maximum equals to 6500 plus 10%. That is nothing but what? 650. So it varies from this value to this value. It cannot exceed this. It cannot exceed this value, and it cannot go below this value. This is called what? Tolerance. Okay. So if this color is A, this is B, this is C, then we write resistance as R equals to AB into 10 power C ohm. Remember this formula. Okay. So like this, even this is taught in your work experience classes also. When you are in class 10th or 9th, you might have been taught by your teacher how to calculate the resistance of this carbon resistors. Okay. This is one of the important questions for short answers. For example, a carbon resistor is coded with blue, green, red in sequence as shown in the figure with the tolerance band. Tolerance band sometimes may be given or may not be given. It is coded with the color blue, green and red, and it is connected across a 5 volt battery, not 5 volt battery, a 15 or 15 volt battery. What is the current flowing through the resistor? I equals to how much? So now you have calculated, when tolerance is not there, no need to calculate all these values. Not necessary. Your resistance value is how much? R equals to 6500 ohm. Voltage given is what? 15 volt. You have to calculate what? Current I. So V equals IR from Ohm's law. So I equals to V divided by R. So V is how much? 15 divided by 6500. What is the unit? Ampere. Right? So simplify this, you will get the answer. Sometimes you will be asked to give the answer in milliamperes. So ampere should be converted into what? Milliamperes. 1 milliampere is how much? 1 milliampere is 10 power minus 3 ampere. Accordingly, the answer can be given either in ampere or milliampere. So important for 2 marks question. Okay. Why 2 marks? Because you have to remember this color code.